Good morning, lovelies. How are you? Eloise, the Money Alchemist here with some very fluffy hair. I think it's the weather. Last week I promised I would do some videos on how you can heal money blocks, and I've had loads of lovely messages from you all sharing with me the blocks that you're uncovering, which is amazing because, as I always say, like, uncovering the blocks, discovering them is actually the bulk of the work. Then what you need to do is work on releasing it. But once you've figured out that you've got that block story or belief around money, things get a lot easier for you. Easier. You're closer to healing it. You're closer to removing it. Not so much easier. Because those of you that know that healing, we often think of healing as this really beautiful thing, and it is a beautiful thing, but often there's a lot of mess in the middle. So I'm just going to share a link into the comments. Not all of you will be able to see this, it depends where you're watching me, but if you'd like to interact with me, click that link and it will show me your name. Otherwise, if it doesn't show me your name, it just says Facebook user, and that's fine too if you just pop your name after it, and that will help me understand who I'm speaking to. So today I wanted to talk about a wonderful healing method, which is always surprising for me. I struggle to do this consistently, but when I do it, even inconsistently, I get huge results. So first of all, if you're here, let me know, say hello in the comments. Hello, hi Jan, nice to see you, lovely. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about this one that I struggle with myself to do consistently. But actually, you don't need to do it consistently. You just need to do it when you need to do it, and it makes an amazing difference, okay? So it is actually journaling. And I thought journaling was really overrated, but I have journaled my way inconsistently. Morning, lovely. I have journaled my way inconsistently to 6 figures over and over, okay? And that's not even doing it all the time. Do you know what I mean? So, and many of you will know my story. I do not come from a background where money is easy. Quite the opposite. Money was very scarce. We lived in poverty. Not as poor as some people, but we were still in poverty, okay? And I had this awful relationship with money. And because of that, because no one ever taught me anything different. Okay, so I'm not your natural, it doesn't come naturally to me to have money. And in fact, the key trigger for me doing this work, this money alchemy work, was that I completely freaked out when I had my first success in business. I freaked out so much that I couldn't do it anymore and I had to shut it down, even though I was living the dream, right? So this is not easy. It has not been an easy journey for me, and journaling has been one of the key things that I've done, as I said, very inconsistently, which has made a huge difference, okay? Someone's saying journaling is amazing. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. So what is journaling? Journaling is just writing, okay? Now, some people feel comfortable writing using a keyboard, but I truly believe that when you journal, it's not just about, there's something very magical about the connection between the pen and the paper that we don't get from computers. Now, if you do get that connection, then absolutely journal away or blog away, however you do it on your computer. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that for me and for many other people, that connection between the pen and the paper it just adds another layer of magic. Now, getting started journaling, I made that sound really simple. It's just writing, right? But getting started journaling is actually a lot harder. And those of you that have tried it will know it can be a little bit challenging. And sometimes, when you are in a flow with it, you might think, oh, I've written for like 5 days on the trot. On day 6, you might get a complete block and not be able to journal. The beauty of the journal is that you're kind of taking your thoughts outside of your head. So instead of experiencing them through your thoughts and feelings, you're experiencing them through your eyes. And often when we listen to our friends, we give them better advice than we give ourselves, don't we? And that's how I think it works. Like, it literally shifts our perception, which is really, really powerful. Also, when you're journaling, you might be really, really surprised by what comes up or what comes out. It can be really like, where did that come from? I didn't even know that I had that. But through the act of journaling, you write through it, and it really does help to heal. Now, I have a couple of, I want to say rules, but they can be guidelines when it comes to journaling. For me, journaling's for me. Like, no one ever gets to see my journals. No one gets to see them. In fact, if anyone did, I would feel extremely violated. And so actually what I do a lot of the time is I burn my journals. Because I have two types of journaling. I can journal on like goals, which are really positive, and I like to look back over those. But when I'm journaling on money blocks, stories and beliefs, what I actually find is it adds another layer to the magic if I burn it. Now, I have a range of cauldrons, just a few, that I burn things in. If you don't have a cauldron, or even if you do, make sure if you want to burn stuff, you burn it safely. Don't burn it in your house, that type of thing. Just, use your judgment. So that's how I feel an enormous release. Like, I write it out, and often it's quite emotional. Often there are tears, angry tears, sad tears, confused tears, happy tears. It's an emotional release, journaling, and it builds. The more you journal, the more you learn to trust yourself, and the more you write, and the deeper you go. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But how do you get started? Well, this was my hardest thing, looking at a blank piece of paper. That's so, so hard, isn't it? So I've created, as you know, very practical. I've created a few things that will literally help you. So, I mean, literally the first one is if you drop a comment in the group and you've identified a block, you could write that at the top like a title and just explore that. You can use the cards, for example. Yeah? If you've got my cards, this one says there are no limits to the money I can bring into my life. And then I might journal on why that doesn't feel true for me right now and see what comes up. And the other thing that I created was this actual wealthy writing workbook, which you can get on Amazon around the world. And there's basically things on there. Let me read it because I'm a mirror. When I believe the beauty of money, I will. So they're like sentence starters to help you. If I charge my value and worth, these things would change. ... So these are designed as like sentence starters to help you really explore what's going on for you with these things. Now, what happens if you've got a title and you still can't think of anything to write? Well, my wonderful friend Sharon told me that if I ever get stuck with journaling, I should write the word rhubarb and write it again and again and again and again until something else comes out. I have never to this day had a sheet of paper that just said rhubarb. It's like taking away the chocks from an aeroplane, and so it can very slowly start rolling, if that makes sense. It helps to build the momentum between the mind-body connection. You could write any word. Sharon uses the word rhubarb, and it just makes me laugh. And I think that's the key as well, actually taking it not so seriously. I hope that makes sense. So, get in and journal. Just write. This journaling is for you. You don't share that with anyone else unless you want to. And like I said, I burn the stuff. When I'm working on clearing a block or a belief or a story, I burn it because I love burning things. I find it really powerful. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? I love burning things. It's a powerful way of like finishing off what I'm doing. It's like, right, I've written it down. I've got it out of my system. Now I need it out of my house and out of my mind. So I burn it and it just goes up in smoke. And it's always a massive, massive release. So have we got any questions from anyone about journaling? It's a very personal thing, but it's a very powerful thing. I, for the longest time, had resistance to journaling. for years and years and years. And I still now look at my positive journal where I'm not working through blocks, and I think, oh my goodness, like I wrote, way before I started, I wrote, I have a 6-figure business, an annual 6-figure business, you know, and that's happened. It's happening more and more, which is amazing. So if you've got any questions, there is a delay on the comments, so it might be that. But if you've got any questions, just drop me a message or drop a comment underneath this video, or I think it's underneath at the moment, isn't it? Until Facebook changes it. And I'd love to know your stories on journaling. What have you manifested when you've been journaling? What have you managed to release when you've been journaling? I have all of the ones in here are ones that I personally have worked on over the years, and it's just been so powerful to do that. It's also very meditative, but what I found, here's a top tip for you. I found that I could only write for like 10 minutes at a time when I first started, because I'd actually hadn't written for a long period of time for ages, so it made my hand ache. Which was a bit annoying, but just build up to it. It's like it is an exercise. It's a mind exercise, but it's also a physical exercise for your writing hand. So just build up to it. Don't write through the pain, because that doesn't help at all. You don't have to finish your journal in one sitting either. Sometimes there's so much that comes up that you think you're done, and then you're going about your day and you think, oh, actually, there's something else that I want to add to that journal. So I'm going to go back and add to that. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's your journal. It's your rules, right? And I found by using my rules for me and my journaling, although it's inconsistent, it's extremely powerful when it comes to healing those blocks and beliefs. And as I mentioned before, I really believe it is that taking it outside of your head and your heart and putting it on a piece of paper, it completely shifts your point of view. Often when I'm doing healing of any sort, I'm going to talk about another one probably tomorrow, I laugh out loud, because when I see it outside of my head, it's like, oh my goodness, I've held on to that. Isn't that funny? So yeah, go and journal on your money blocks. And like I said, cards. This is on Amazon if you want it. It's called the Wealthy Writing Workbook. Just get started. Don't wait. Get started. You don't need a beautiful notebook. You can write on a piece of paper, a scrappy piece of paper, an envelope. It's just about getting started. And if you do buy a beautiful notebook, make sure you're actually going to use it. Because I had this thing where I had all these beautiful notebooks and I didn't feel worthy enough of writing in them in case I made a mistake or made them look rubbish. Okay, uncovered a block there, didn't we? That I didn't feel worthy enough to write in a pretty notebook. What else does that link to? If I can't write in a pretty notebook, what else am I kind of hiding behind that story that I'm telling myself? So if you love a pretty notebook, amazing, but watch for that procrastination, watch for that block. Just get started. Find an envelope, find a Post-it. You can journal on Post-its as well if you want to. Just do it your way. Do it in a way that works for you. You may find it useful to do reminders every week. In fact, in this book, we only journal once a week. We don't do it every day because the healing journey can be a big thing. So sometimes you only want to do one a week. Sometimes you might want to do more. But just take it at your own pace. And as I said, if you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will see you probably tomorrow.